Hey y'all, it's Anna V, and you, my friend, are listening to the All American Wing Shooting Podcast. I am a hunter, conservationist, mom of 2 girls I have raised in the outdoors, and a proud owner of a truck full of dogs. My passion is guiding you to confidence, sharing in tradition, and celebrating the true meaning of success in the field. Here we go. Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of All American Wing Shooting Podcast. Actually, today we're making a change because it's the next episode with Kevin at Griffin and Howe, and we actually have an official name, an official thumbnail on our new podcast series.
There you go.
We're stepping up in the world, Kevin.
That's it. Well, let them have it.
Well, it's really funny because when I threw this out at you, you're like, yeah, okay, we'll see how it goes, whatever. I'm addicted to our Tuesdays together.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was just there with you, God, it seems like it was a month ago now.
Been a little bit. Yeah. Been a little bit.
We were riding around the course and we were just talking about like, what is the thing that we really want to share with people? Like, what do we want them to take away from the time that they spend with us? And you popped out something pretty iconic. Do you remember?
Tell them what I said.
You were talking about something. You're like, I just want to create the sporting life legacy. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. I was like, let me write this down because that is exactly where our hearts are. We don't get to live the exact same life, but we love the same world. You guys have such a different experience up north than we get to have down south.
Right. But it's a similar pathway though, isn't it?
Yeah. I just live in
similar pathway. And there's a lot of room to jump on our train.
Well, I want to share with you because we got to do a little photo shoot and it was so much fun. We got the cutest picture of you. Look at how precious this is.
Look at that, right?
That is us always having a good time with our shotguns.
Yep.
And I just love the way it turned out. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we got some pretty good things, some good tips filmed there. Do you remember what I was telling you about the eyes first and how we did that little thing at the trap field? Eyes first,
Yes.
so the hands know where to go. That's a huge little drill that really helps. The new bird shooter, the new wing shooter has to understand that. Eyes first, not hands first.
Yeah, and it takes the getting in your head out of the way.
Exactly. Completely out of the way. Eyes first.
It's all
not
focused.
Hands first.
It's all focused. You're not thinking about where's this, where's that. No, it's just there. Bam. Bird down.
Focusing on a moving object. The harvest is easy. And that's the essence of being a wing shooter, is understanding that versus hands first, the shooting aspect of it anyway. And that's kind of what we were concerned about when I had you out at that first station where we were doing that little drill, the little thing I showed you where it says, okay, you call pull. When I see you start to move, I'm going to release the target, right? So you're in motion slightly, eyes went up, and you just center punching anything. And then we went to the big scale and we went out to the trap field and you were basically shooting low gun trap and center punching everything because it was eyes first. The hands knew where to go. So that was fun, right? Little drill.
I'm addicted to learning. I've said that so many times. I think it just got posted on my Instagram too. I love that hardcore training. I love you putting me through the drills, pushing me to the limit. I don't get tired of that. I would just stay a student forever. Not that I don't, but I would never even move into coaching if I could afford to just take lessons all day, every day again. Like how I got started.
With that said, I said when I first met you many years ago, and probably the first podcast we did, is I am a student of this game and I'm always constantly learning. And these little nuances, like what I showed you with the eyes first, it's really how to adapt that to be a good wing shooter. It's the same thing, whether we're duck hunting or we're pheasant hunting or we're in Kansas and we're quail hunting. And that's what we're trying to train up for, right? Is eyes first. So as we move forward with this thing and we say, oh, we want to create a legacy. We want to be able to sit back. Like I can sit back and we can look at 35, 40 years of wing shooting and like, it's been a long trail, right? It's a long ride, but you got to start somewhere. And the sooner you start, the sooner you're in it, and you can sit back and enjoy it like we do. So,
Well, I was with you actually hosting some SEI ladies.
yep.
Some of my favorite friends that I've met through SEI who before that trip didn't know each other. And they literally just took off and took all kinds of shooting lessons, rifle and pistol. And then they shot shotguns too. So I got to shoot with them a little bit, but, I loved being able to get away and hanging out with you and just sitting there getting the travel knowledge.
Yeah. Well, we will do that every time you come up. We get a chance because it's a rare. We live far apart. You're in Georgia. I'm up here, but we have to make good time of when you're here. But it's good that you get away. But the cool thing, what you just said, though, now and this is what we love about being wing shooters. None of those ladies knew each other, right?
No,
Bet you they. I
and
bet.
y'all didn't know that until we'd been there for like 2
Right.
days.
Well, I bet they're all talking to each other now, right? They all have new
Oh,
friends, and
yeah.
that's what this thing is about. I've got my guy in Minnesota, and I got my guy in Wisconsin, and I got my gal down
Mhm.
in Georgia, and this is where it all starts. It's that life sharing that lifestyle together that creates that legacy. It's like you don't understand. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't go see John in North Dakota. I've been doing it for
Oh, well,
14
we
years.
just decided that we're going to have a girls' trip to Griffin and Howe. We're going to bring our significant others. We're just going to do like an annual trip. If we could come twice a year, we're going to plan that because it was such a special place. So we had Susan Rubio, who is actually running for Congress in the San Antonio area. So she's
Hmm.
in Texas. She's hunted all over the world. Her and her husband just took all of their 6 grandkids to South Africa last summer. And so to have her come in, number one, she's probably the most experienced and she got so much out of it. She was saying like, man, I had forgotten so many fundamentals
Yep.
that I was, you know, it was all like brought back. She had a system when she left there in all 3 disciplines. Especially, she's a rifle girl and, I know she felt more confident with the pistol when she went back home, but just the shotgun life, she's like, man, I got so caught up in the rifle world, I forgot how much fun this was and stuff. And so that was really exciting. But her life is so busy.
Right.
And you
She's got a
get
lot
up to
going on.
Griffin and Howe, and it's like something happens when you cross that gate. Nothing else in the world matters. We never know where our phones are. We try to stay on schedule, but we might be a little late showing up sometimes just because we get so caught up in the
Yeah.
moment
Eh,
there. And it's really a perfect getaway.
Yep. Do you remember when you pulled up the driveway and you saw 2 stone pillars? I always make
Hmm.
the comment when you pull in those 2 stone gate pillars, leave everything but yourself behind. Leave it all out there. You can pick it up when you leave, but leave it all out there because when you come here, we'll fill in all the blanks, right? We'll fill in
True.
everything you
It's
need.
so true.
Right? Just leave the busy, leave the tension, leave the work, leave all that stuff because when you come here, this is your time and we're going to show you and take you along on a place where you've never been before. So that's what it's all about. So,
And it's hard to explain that. Everybody that's listening to this has probably traveled to a lodge, had some type of experience, but there really is no place like going to Griffin House Shooting School
there you go.
at all. So
Well,
we had Susan with all of her experience. Then we had Lori was there. She's from Maryland, so
yep,
opposite ends of the world. She has been exposed to a lot of shotgunning stuff because her husband works in the industry and has for a very long time. She's worked in and out of the industry. But her confidence level exploded. And I'll tell you something that's so special for me about that. She is a unbelievable writer. And she just found so much inspiration. And so I was like, yes, I can just see everybody like, Susan was ready to go back home and pound the pavement, get ready for her campaign. Lori went back home. She started writing. She's been sending me stuff. And then we had Anne Marie, and she's from Nashville. And y'all, well, we got to the airport and everybody met at Newark.
Mm-hmm.
We got in our car to come over because they picked us up, and she was like, y'all, I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all didn't know that she was like, I've never done this before. I don't really know what I'm in for.
Yep.
Because she was so successful with every single
Everything else.
gun.
Yeah.
Everything she picked
Oh,
up.
that's
So
just the way we like it.
she
That's
was her
just the way
chug
we
turkey
like it.
once.
She's an open,
And it was
clean
so
slate.
amazing. Yeah, she literally went back home and left and went on another outdoors trip to Colorado. She was
Good,
just like transformed.
good for her. Charged all her batteries, right?
Yes,
We charged the batteries.
that's what happened. 3 days.
Cool. Cool. So what's the next direction?
Well, talking about that, it was such a huge success that we have planned to not only do super fun things with the members at Griffin and Howe, because we're going to have year-round events to take the ladies shooting on clays and on hunts. So that's really exciting to do that, take them outside New Jersey. But we have seen the demand and the interest now to bring people to Griffin and Howe.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be through me. We've got our schedule where I'm going to be there hopefully like every other month.
Yeah.
So
Like
hopefully when I'm coming in, I'm meetings. Yep. So you
that's
can find more information on my website about trips to Griffin and Howe. Or if you end up calling Griffin and Howe, just let them know that you're wanting to go on one of the
right. If
NV
they're
trips.
interested, we can get them
And
hooked up with you. And yeah, that's
yeah,
the big red easy button. So
I don't mind. I don't mind coming there, hosting people there. That wasn't really the original plan of all of us getting connected, but I can't come there enough.
it was a good start. So listen, we are rounding the third turn in summer, right? We're a couple of weeks away from Labor Day, right? And what are you starting, us wing
Yep.
shooters, what are we thinking about around Labor Day? Because now we're in the
Okay,
third
so
quarter, right?
dove season is hitting off. I went and bought a new battery today. I just got home for our podcast for my thrower. I was like, me and Tater are getting out in the backyard. We're going to shoot every evening. We're
Right?
going to be ready.
Dove season is right around the corner. Right around the corner. I was downstairs mounting one of my dove guns, right? I was picking up, said, so got to start making arrangements. I got to come down close. I'll be in Nashville probably the second week of September for a few days down by Franklin,
Well,
Tennessee.
we'll have to put you in touch with Anne Marie. You'll have to go meet
Yeah,
up with them.
absolutely.
So let's talk about that. Drills. You were down there picking up your dove gun. You were going to give me a list of drills to get ready. So as you break this down, I shoot a side by side in the dove field typically. Do
Yep.
you change up any of your drills based on over, under, side by side, or semi auto?
So in the dove field where I go, I shoot a semi-auto. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have shot a side by side, but I shoot a 28 gauge semi-auto. It's plenty of gun. It reaches out. Um, Not much to do with the gun. I've got it dialed in where I need it to be. Um, I have had a 12 bore. I have a Benelli Super Black Eagle that I have used. I would say I would be the back shooter. I'd let the guys up close to the sunflowers that are in the sunflowers shoot, and the outside birds I would take with the big gun, right? Kind of back off a little bit and let the kids. Sometimes we have some kids shooting in the middle, so like them have the fun, and I'll shoot the outside stuff that's a little bit out of their range. So
Yeah.
the drills that I would tell you that we start to do is most of the time we start sitting down, right? We're seated. A lot of us,
Yep.
a lot of folks like to sit on a spackle bucket with a little rotating top. Some people do some people have a blind and they like to stand up. Depends on their physical capabilities. But I like to start people shooting sitting down. right? Because that's a
They make fancy swivel chairs now.
oh, they got some cool stuff out there. So it's whatever makes you feel
Yeah.
comfortable. You know, a guy if he's going out there the first time doesn't have to dump a bunch of money, but you know, spackle bucket with a piece of foam on the top works fine to get you started. And if you really like it, dive in, man. Get one of those cool chairs. It's absolutely you'll be the king of the field. Um, and we start throwing. I want to throw birds. I want to throw birds at least 25 feet in the air. I want the higher shots and have the ability for a person to be able to move and shoot those higher left to right, right to left. Because, you know, in a dove field, we don't want to shoot low because typically we have other guns in the field. Typically, we'll have on some of the bigger shoots I've been, we've got the field surrounded. We don't want to shoot low. So we want to practice up on those higher
Mhm.
shots. So you want to throw birds up at 45 degrees, 45-degree crossers from right to left, left to right. Just kind of get the hang of getting gun placement on it and making a move on those targets. And early season, you know, shoot them at 20 yards, then back them off to 25 yards, and then open it up to your comfort zone. Now, everyone's not expected to shoot the big shot. Shoot within your comfort zone, but I think that's a great place to start, right? And
That's
obviously make sure
perfect.
your shotgun fits. You know, shoot the patterning board, make sure you mount the gun properly, shoot the patterning board, make sure it's shooting, you know, most people like 55, 45, whatever you're comfortable with, you know, an IC choke with eights or 7.5s and get your gun dialed in and just start thinking about the season coming up because I already am. I'm already getting a little itchy about it. I get down the gun safe and I start looking around and say, well, it's in a couple of weeks and I start shooting that. And a couple of weeks after that, the Model 21 will start coming out on the course and the Parazzi will get put away. Right. So that's where I'm at. Does that work for you?
I know. I I'm just sticking to the same side by side, except for when I come see y'all. I just shoot a different gun almost every day.
Yep. Think I had you in
That's about.
a 20 over and under. Right. I
Hmm.
had you in a left-handed 20 over and under. Or did I have you in a 12? Well, I
Han
put you.
told me, he's like, why don't you just get you the same gun here and just leave it here? Because I don't want to fly with a gun every time I come. It's such a
Yeah.
pain.
We got plenty of guns here for you, right? Everybody know you're a
I usually
southpaw?
don't check a bag, is what I'm.
Right. Knapsack, boom,
Forever
you're
and ever,
gone.
amen.
So we always have guns here. That's the one, and you've recognized this one. When folks come to visit us, there's not too many people I can't get a gun for really, really close. I've got a lot of good equipment to work with. We've got a lot of ladies' guns.
The only
Uh,
thing I brought this time was my ears. I literally came with nothing, and I was like, okay, I need to
right. Your
be fully
headphones. I,
outfitted.
I put you in a
I did
I
bring my
put you in a
ears.
pair of glasses, right? I put you in a set of Rangers, right? So
Yes,
they're
I
still
forgot
above
my
my locker.
glasses. I literally was like, okay, I've got my dinner clothes. I got my field clothes. I'm good. And I don't know. I didn't even think about looking in my gun pack
Right.
because I used my ears on the plane with my
Right.
phone.
Yep.
So they had like a multi-purpose. I was thinking about flying. I was
Yeah. It's
almost
easy.
in big trouble. I don't know. I
It's
was so excited to see the girls and everything.
threw it
I
to the
don't know. I
wind.
didn't worry about it. You took care of it.
You know what we always say,
Okay.
if I
So,
forget it, I can always buy it when I get there. So that's pretty much
oh my
it. We're
gosh, talking
starting to
about
think
that.
about
Okay.
that.
So the merch was so good. The merch this trip was amazing. I spent a ton of money there. Look at my new hat.
Yeah,
This
let's
has a
chill.
metal little like gem on here
Ain't
for
that a
Hudson
cool
Farm with the
ain't
with
that a
the
cool
pheasant
little
logo.
stamp? Yeah. You got you some jewelry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I love this one. Yeah. But I didn't get that there. I got the khaki hat too, where this is embroidered.
Hmm.
So cute. I don't know who's picking out the merch, but they're doing a great job.
We got stuff. You gotta have stuff. It's important to have the stuff. So so when does your dove season start?
Okay. I don't really have like an opener plan. I am taking ladies to honey break the last weekend in September. And we're going to do teal in the morning and doves at night
Okay,
in the evening.
that works. Yeah, we
Yeah.
usually get out.
You can
That's
tag
typically
along.
count me in. I got a ticket. I know how to get to the airport.
We would love to have you.
I may play a little
I can't
hooky
wait
this
to get a
year.
honey break.
I may. So typically my host that invites me to his farm in Tennessee has two shoots. He has, the first shoot is like early week. That's his celebrity shoot. He invites all his Nashville buddies over in the music business and he invites them in and a lot of neighbors and everything. That's a fine, fine shoot. And the second shoot, and I've been to that. And the second half is we get all the kids and all the relatives and because they have to be in school when we have the second one. So I may play hooky this year and stay the week and shoot both of them. Are you allowed to do that? So I may just drive down and
Yes, you should
stay
do
4 or
that.
5. Absolutely, stay 4 or 5 days. And did I mention he's got a bass pond on his property? So you never know. So
Yes, you have
that'll be
mentioned
the
that.
second week.
Gotta do it.
That'll be the opener, the second week of September. And then towards the end of September, Hudson Farm kicks into gear. We kick in probably I would say,
Yeah, I'm
depending on
so
the
thrilled
weather.
to spend my first season there.
Yeah, depending on the weather, we'll start throwing
Hmm.
pheasants no later than the first week of October. And then the season's on.
So how does the clay course change when the weather changes?
So the clay
Does it
course,
stay really busy still?
yes, it's still busy. Shooting Academy still goes full throttle. Um, this past Thursday, I just did a driven bird clinic for 4 gentlemen for 5 hours. We did 1 to 6. Got them out on the Flurry field. I think you've been out on the Flurry with us. They've got a trip booked for the glorious 7th, right? September 7th. So they came out. I did the intro clinic for them, and then when I get back from vacation, we're going to do the intermediate clinic for them. So those boys are all already thinking about that. Um, the only thing that changes sometimes on the clay course is we do have a couple of release areas where we release pheasant from that we try to keep the shooters away from. So I may close down 2 or 3 stations while the guns are out, but as soon as the shoot's over, it's right back and open. Yeah, we're full time, 7 days a week.
Well, you guys have some new construction coming, which the coolest thing that y'all have is heated houses. Not the entire course, but there's plenty of heated area to shoot.
Heated instructional houses, which since you've been here are all up and running.
Mhm.
All the targets are reset. So, first house on the left is your novice targets because let's face it, new people, brand new folks, they're not used to cold weather, raining, we're sports people. We're out in any kind of weather except for lightning. The center house is intermediate targets, and the targets on the right side are, you can pretty much teach anybody anything. I have 6 machines on the right side, 4 machines in the middle, and 4 machines on the left. So if it's raining or if it's cold or if it's snowing, we still shoot. We have the ability to come in, turn the heat on, take your jacket off, and let's have fun. So that will be up and running.
In the new 5 stand.
And the new five. So up to date on the 5 stand, there is a building. There's a roof on the building. It's moving
Oh,
forward at a
no
good pace.
way.
Oh yeah, the building where I took you out, the building, and there's a roof on the building. All the windows are framed out. Guys are doing a fantastic job. I think when you were here, it was a foundation. Now it's an actual building. When you drive up, you can actually imagine you're going to know
Hmm.
what you're going to see. So I will take pictures and I will send you pictures and keep you on the update
Oh
on
my
that.
gosh.
That's going to be great. And that's
Yes,
indoor also. That's
please do.
indoor
So
also.
there's going to be, yep, a 2-story 5 stand house with fireplace, entertaining, the whole
Full
shebang where it
kitchen,
doesn't
full
matter what's going
everything.
on outside.
You can shoot outside on the deck. You can shoot from indoors in foul weather. And I will have every possible known presentation that you could possibly think of on that 5 stand. It will be more than a 5 stand. It will definitely be more than a 5 stand. So looking greatly forward to that. That's going to be a real crowd pleaser.
Kind of like the skeet field.
How do you like that, right?
You can shoot
That's my,
anything at the skeet field.
so the skeet field, right? We have
I love it. It is like
what else?
Disneyland.
Yeah, what else do you need? So you have a traditional skeet field. You have a traditional trap field, which is a very common overlay, a trap and a skeet field on the same property. But just behind the skeet house, right behind the trap house, is a full Halise field, right? So there's Halise machines in the ground,
Yeah.
right? Which that's kind of cool. And then the topper is there's 3 parcours of FETASC laid all around the whole thing. So if you get bored coming up to my skeet field,
Yeah.
so every single presentation you could possibly think of is all in that 15-acre plot up there at the top of the hill. So we're kind of proud of that. And for a wing shooter, that is the wing shooter's delight. Every possible presentation is there.
It is.
Rising
There's nothing
birds.
you can't accomplish right there.
No. So that's our goal here at the Shooting Academy, is to be able to reproduce any kind of shot a wing shooter could possibly run across, whether he's a waterfowler, he or she is a waterfowler, out there on the Great Plains, down south quail shooting. I need to reproduce it all because people come and see me and I need to train them on that stuff. So we're pretty happy to have that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you recognize the value of that. So, yep.
Okay, so I'm going to change gears. I want to know, because you are a book hoarder like me.
Yes, I
But I
am.
have always collected a bunch of mindset books or dog training books. Not really shooting method books. I think I have some like Orvis books and stuff,
Yep.
but I had read this book, I want to say maybe back in 2018 or 2019. And when I look back at those last few years, I see how the influence of the outdoors has really created my identity. Like the legacy. We talk about that all the time. Not
Mm-hmm.
only do we want to be full of knowledge and wisdom to share, but we want to also be a conservationist. Like that's really where our heart is. We want people to learn to do things the right way so that we can ensure that this continues for generations to come.
Correct.
And I open up, I'm really bad. Like I write in all the pages, like in
Yep.
the margins.
Little things to
So
make
I'm
you
like,
pop out.
I
And
think I could
what's
probably write a book just about my thoughts within margins of other books that I read. But when I first started in the wing shooting world, I just got tossed to the deep end of the pool and I was on the road all the time learning as I went. And I had no idea that I could have benefited from, a female mentor or whatever. I just was rolling.
right?
And I read this and I just thought about, man, all the conversations that we have off camera, it all kind of goes back to this. And then I want you to talk about your books and just what this talk
Okay.
about how awesome. So it's really fun to like go back and see where my mind was when I first started and I was all over the place figuring out like freedom. And I don't know if it's the same for guys, but women feel so confident achieving things in the outdoors. And I've really just built my whole brand on that. And so I, I was reminded of this when I was there with my ladies group
Mm-hmm.
because I talked about this and then we did a whole round table that's going to be, it'll be put on YouTube where we were sitting in the Quail building and just talking about like the reflection of the growth that we had in like 3 days there. So I find this book tucked that was in a bin that always traveled in my dog trailer. So I'm starting to get like trying to organize things from the past. And it says, what is the truest, most honest version of yourself? I found that not just in the outdoors, but bird dogging. Facts are we don't have to leave that person, that empowerment at hunting camp or on the road. We can claim that joy in our everyday lives because we are always that person, even in the off season. And I just love spending this off season, which we don't really have an off season, but that's like the biggest thing that I want to share with people. And the guys that are listening to this, I really want them to encourage their wives to live that life, because you have these ladies that are coming, taking lessons with you. It's like for some reason they just compartmentalize things that they are just like, well, I'm just taking lessons. I'm just taking shooting lessons.
Right.
Heck
Where
no, honey, you're a shooter. You are a shooter. And so it was like, I think back now, and I'm sharing that message of how I felt when I first started. And I was like, man, what would I change if I had known then what I know now?
isn't that the proverbial question, right? But would you
I'm
change
telling you,
anything?
I was already wide open. I would have been, I mean, I would have just done so much more, even though I felt like I was doing as much as I possibly could do. I would have just done so much more knowing that there's nothing holding you back but yourself.
That's right. The only one that's holding you back is yourself. The sky's the limit, and it's just a matter of, there's obviously there's the economic part of it and everything, and the time restraints, if your family restraints. But as far as that what we're talking about, once you get involved in this, I'm never in and out. This lifestyle, I'm in every
Mm-hmm.
day. I'm not like this guy and then that guy. I've had a gun in my hand for 50 years. I'm here. I'm in a very special place in my life. I'm here at the shooting school every day, talking to shooters and being with shooters and planning trips and working with gear and implementing gun fits for people going on trips. So it never really leaves me, but we're always constantly thinking about it and talking about it. So it's definitely a lifestyle change. It's definitely a
Yeah, okay.
lifestyle
So,
change.
and that's for me. I wish that I had done more experiences. I chased a lot of titles and I love having that expertise, but I mean, honestly, I don't even feel like anybody cares. So it's like, well, man, I want to go sit in one of those pygmy boats and shoot ducks and just like live rough in some little cabin
Right.
and go to grouse camp with the outhouse and like, which I have done that, but not enough, I mean, like those experiences are really living,
So those
because we know what
trophies,
it's like to go to the 5-star
so
places.
the
It's
trophies
like,
don't do
man,
anything for you anymore. That big case of trophies you have in the cabinet, they don't do anything for you anymore. Is that
uh,
what you're trying to tell
I
me?
love them. I love the stories that come with them. I
Yep.
love
Right.
the dogs that's attached to them. But what I'm finding now is like I won't go back to that life. So now I'm like, man, I got to get back into the mode of just having those experiences. And when I was duck hunting all the time, we were filming, and when you're filming, it's a job. It's like constant from 3:30 in the morning until midnight or 1 o'clock, and you get a little nap and you do it again. It's not like we are sitting around the fire and we are having fun, but it was still work. It wasn't downtime. It wasn't like this
That's right.
getaway
Yep.
stuff
I've
that I
done it.
got to do during COVID.
It's a lot of
When
work.
COVID was out, like I don't want COVID to come back, but I really would love to have that kind of getaway at hunt camp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I would have done. I would have really have treasured those moments instead of chasing, like, I won't say titles. I don't know if I can find this other thing, but when I first got into this, which I know that you're not a super fan of the whole like pro staff life and all of that, I wrote in here about that, and you would have been really proud of me, because that's how we met, was me being my pro staffer. And this book said, like, I feel that level of achievement in the industry, number one, is extremely misleading. And number two, I don't want it to hold other people back because people assume that it's more than it is.
Correct statement. Absolutely.
Because you and I know so many people that are way more capable than people that are promoted that don't go down that road. And so I'm not discrediting it. I've lived it.
Yeah, don't
But at
need
the
to.
same time, it was like,
Don't need to.
man, I don't want that to ever be a stumbling block of intimidation to keep women from moving forward in their journey of the outdoors. And it says, you're going to love this. I read this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait for Kevin. I remember, okay, this is a book that talks about a point where you find your voice, talking about going through life and coming to love themselves. So I remember becoming a pro staff for the first time. Wow. What the heck does that even mean?
Right.
Like, I wanted so much, I wasted so much time trying to figure out the industry standard when I should have set an Anna V standard. What are my goals? What legacy do I want to leave?
Right. Does that mean, yeah, you're pro
And I don't
staffer?
know if that happened to you when you first started competing.
Yeah. Does that mean you're really important? Is that what that means? You know, you start trying to live
I
that
don't know. It was like,
right?
nobody ever told me, like, okay, well, when you set this, like, this is how you build your business and all these things. It was like, I turned around. It was like 6 years I've been searching for this specific standard. And I didn't have a female mentor to come to me and say, hey, like, go live your life. You know, it's
Right.
like I
It'll
had to kind of
happen. It'll happen.
spin in circles.
I have, I'm so blessed with having the ability to, people come to me for a gun fit, or they come to me, they bring me their son for their first gun because they know that they're in the right place. And we talk about this legacy and says, I'm their information. I'm their baseline. They trust that I will do the right thing. And that's, for me, that's when I know you've made it. If that's what you're after, when people depend on you for their knowledge, right? You're their knowledge base. There's nothing better than that. You don't need any big
4
signs. You don't
generations.
need a whole
Yes.
generation, right? I, I don't want any, short hops. I want a long-term relationship with my clients. I take a lot of my clients on hunting trips. I've got them from big business, Wall Street, all kinds, you know, we're close to New York City I'm in a duck boat. And I said, Kevin, without you, I would have never have done this. I said, well, you asked me what I do in October, and now when I'm showing you, right? And this is what we do. We still do that, but this is
Besides
what we
hanging
do
out at
here.
Pheasant, yes, my favorite thing to do at Griffin Howe is hang out in your office. I love hanging out with your clients and
Right.
hearing their stories. Like, we went and got one of your guys who was going to a competition and needed a backup gun because he came in. Remember, he'd lost all that weight and he had built up his gun.
Yep.
And you're like, this is so ugly. Like, you rebuilt it.
Oh,
and it
you
looked
remember
classy.
George?
We went
That
out
was
to the
George.
patterning board.
Yep.
And it was just so awesome to have, like, or to witness the relationship
Do
that
you
you
see
built.
that? So
You know,
where else?
with
He
people.
came because he knew I'd fix it, right? He knew I came.
Yeah.
I got to go see Kevin because he's going to fix everything. And that's when you know that's when you know you're heading in the right direction. When you have people that rely on you, and you're honest with them, and it's a very full life when you're in that position.
Okay. So if you could have had a peek at the joy that you would have right now, because I know you love your job. Like, it's so contagious being there in the pro shop. If you had a peek at that back in your 30s or your early 40s, where life is like really hard during
Yeah.
those ages, you know, because you're in the grind. What would you have changed then if you would have known, like, it was all going to work out and you were going to absolutely look back and say, man, this is everything I could have ever dreamed of?
Anna, I'm going to tell you something. I always knew that slow and steady wins the race, whatever race you're in. And I've always worked a lot. For many years, I worked 7 days a week. I would run my regular job and then be here in the early days teaching here on the weekends. And I always had this feeling that at some point I said, I think I could be this. I think this is going to take me to a new place that I don't think there's any limits. I don't think there's
Hmm.
any kind of limits on what you can accomplish just by being the straight shooter and just letting it happen, you know, just let it happen. Learn how to say yes, learn how to say, yeah, I'll go there. Let's
Yeah.
try that. And just let's go down and shoot railbirds out of a poke boat with a guy pushing you with a long pole. Let's do this. Let's do that. And I always had that desire to just, yes, let's do that. Let's do that. And it's taken me pretty far, pretty far. And I don't think I'm anywhere
That's
near as
what I
done.
always say. Like, well, there was nothing special about me. I just never said no. Like, if a door opened, I just went with it. But I love that you said that you're a straight shooter, because I'll never forget this. When Steve reached out to me, I thought it was because of you, because we met so long ago,
Yep.
and like you just took me under your wing from then. I just hate that I didn't stay there. But then the industry thing, all those bright lights,
Yeah,
like,
there you
this
go.
is the standard I was chasing, whatever this is supposed to be. Um, but I came back home. It's one of those things, like when you raise your kids right, they always
Right.
come back home.
You came back home.
Kind of one of those things. But when
Well,
I came back home, I'll never forget you saying, well, kiddo, you're still around. So the fact that I thought you were the real deal, well, you've proved me right. And I was like,
you just
that
had
was
to,
so funny to me.
yeah. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. And, there's a new, and I've been looking at a little bit of stuff out there. I'm not an Instagram guy too much, except for what I do with you and stuff. And I think people think they get a lot of traction with all this new bells and whistles. And, you may sound like the guy or the gal, but it's a life process. It really is. It's a life process. And, it takes time. It just takes time. And you got to have every experience possible to get there. So it's all good. It's all good. What do you
Well, I
think?
just love that, because the only thing that I've ever wanted us to do is just encourage people to go. And there's
Go
so
and
many
do it.
things that I
Yeah.
wanted to do and I was doing. But in hindsight, it was like, well, should I have been doing this? Like, I
Right.
wish that now we had duck camp in Arkansas, but I was flying through Arkansas to get to California or something.
To go,
Like, I didn't stay in
listen,
one place long enough
I'm
to
going to
like
tell
really
you
plant
something.
roots.
I'm going to tell you something really important. You take it
Tell
for
me.
what it's worth. Everything has its time. I'm 70 years old, 70 years young. I still think I'm 35. Everything has its time. There's a time to do this and a time to do that. And at some point in your life, you will start gravitating. You and I would both shoot a lot of different disciplines. I've spent a lot of time in a duck boat. But when I say a duck boat, I mean we can shoot in a pit blind. We can shoot in the field in a pit blind. We can shoot in a layout boat for diving ducks out on Barnegat Bay. We can shoot in a big boat in a layout out on the ocean for other things. When we say duck hunt, there are so many different disciplines in waterfowl. You really don't know which one is going to be your favorite. So it takes time to have all those experiences. But the key thing is throw your hat in a ring and go, right? When they say, hey, we're going down the Chesapeake Bay, I've got a field blind for snow geese. Go experience that. Hey, I've got a Canadian goose blind up here in Sussex County, New Jersey. The guy's got a pit blind. Go and do that. You may turn into a goose hunting monster, right? But until you actually do it, you'll never know. So it's a
Oh, I
process.
love it.
It's a process. You have to go and experience it, and then you will find what really you gravitate towards. But unless you get out there and do it, and this is what we've done for the past 40 years, gone through all this. We shot geese up by the Finger Lakes and down in Maryland and in Jersey and on the Hackensack River and everywhere. And you got to participate, and all this legacy will start to come together. You will start to be able to say, you know what? I know where I belong in October. I know where I belong in November, and I know what's left in January, and then we're all smiling in March because we've got cleanup to do, right? So that's my story. That's my little tale.
Well, I love our talks. These are the real deal talks that we have when we're riding around on the clay course and you're putting me through the grind. And I cherish every moment. And it's so easy. I'm sure that our listeners are like, man, I want an Uncle Kevin.
Oh,
And
I
just so you
want
guys
me
know,
one of those.
he
Yeah.
is
Well,
that Griffin
look,
Howe.
if so, I've got a bunch of guys here that I mentor, and really, as a person in my position, I find it that if you're not mentoring other people, I mean, are you trying to keep secrets? Are you trying to be the big cheese? I just don't get that. Um, if you share your experiences, who knows? Maybe one of those people that you share your experience with might actually invite you to go bird hunting, right? You may have hooked them up and then you may just get an invitation. You may get a big smile on your face saying, look what I created. Look at the damage
Yes.
I've done, you know?
And it's so exciting.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I appreciate all this time that you spend with me.
Yep.
And if we've motivated you today to go on some new adventure, please reach out to us. Tell us what you want to hear about. If there's a specific place that you guys want to go hunting, we have trips planned. We would love to have you guys tag along with
Yep.
us. You can find those at AnnaV.com, AnnaVOutdoors.com, or I actually post those on my stories as well. So, yeah, we would just love to hear from you guys. Thank you for listening and going through the journey with me and Kevin as we just love our time together and share about Griffin and Howe.
Okay. Poof.
Dawn's finally breaking as I leave this sleepy town. The sun is slowly rising and the fog is on the ground.